Welcome to the EO Live Election Night Show. Tonight's show will feature live reporting from the Union County Clerk's Office. This show is being broadcast from Brent Clapp Productions in EO Live Studio on downtown 4th Street, with your hosts, Brent Clapp and Bob Kavanaugh.
Hey, good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening. We know that you have had a long day and probably got home from work, had some dinner, and here you are tuning in with us live tonight with EO Live, and we are here for the election night coverage. And so we just want to take some time and welcome you. And on behalf of Brent Clapp and myself, Bob Kavanaugh, thank you again for tuning in. Lots to go over this evening, and one of the things that we have had some conversation with our team about is how we present this election night to you. With so much going on in our county, in our cities, in our county, our state, and our nation, how do we even begin to dissect this to bring it in palatable chunks for you to understand, to see, and to take in? And so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to focus primarily on Union County and the cities, LeGrand, and we may get into some other city information. We're not sure yet on our timing. We are going to go up and see Robin Church up there at the county. Dodsey will be up there live to get some information from her around the election night and what's going on. Okay, a couple things that we want to go over with you before we even get launched into this is the election results. The voter turnout is absolutely outstanding. We had our guy Silas Kelty, the man on the street, so to speak, help us to gather these numbers, and they're absolutely unbelievable. And I think what you're going to hear a lot about, especially with the media, as you, after this show, go on to the other media sources to find out how the presidential election is going, the race is going, you're going to hear a lot about how the voter turnout is absolutely historic this season. To give you an example, when we look at Union County, out of 19,000 eligible, technically people who can vote, I'll just put it to you that way, 19,052 people are eligible to vote in Union County. We've seen 14,569 people turn out. That is absolutely outstanding. That's 76.5% of our county has turned out to vote this election cycle season. So again, historic. We just for fun looked at the top performing area, and believe it or not, there are two that are just absolutely above and beyond what anyone would have ever thought. And it's one of those counties is our very own neighbor, Wallowa County. Wallowa County is turning in an 85.9% voter turnout. And let me say that again, because I'm not sure if that's something that we can really understand. Looking at the history and the past when it comes to voting, the voter turnout is, I don't think it's ever been that high. Again, Wallowa County is at 85% of voter turnout. Now that's out of 5,000 people, 5,934 people are eligible to vote, 5,097 showed up. Now to give you another perspective on a massive turnout, voter turnout, is in Benton County. Now I know that's not in our area, but we just thought it was staggering to see these numbers come in. Benton County is at 85.4% of the vote. Now that's of 60,000 eligible voters, 51,000 have shown up to vote. So again, historic evening, historic night when it comes to voter turnout and what we're seeing across the state when it comes to, again, people who are very passionate and they are committed to getting out and having their voices heard. So big stuff going on tonight. So Brent, are you live with us? There he is,
hey.
Brent Clapp, and Brent is joining us live from the bunker, the underground bunker. Actually, it's just right next door.
Yeah. So for people don't know, so I'm in a production room switching tonight and doing all of that, and Bob is in the studio. So this is true social distancing, right?
Yes, it is. And so Brent and I are going to be just walking through a few of the topics that we feel are important to you, our local viewers and local citizens, around what you think and what you feel is valuable and important to see our county and cities move forward. And Brent, the first thing I want to do is I want to talk to you. We had a forum here recently, I think it was about a month ago, where we had the City of LeGrand, City Council candidates and the mayoral candidates, and we also, before that, we had the Sheriff Forum before that as well. So we've been down this road quite a bit, and I'm curious, tell the viewers your perspective of perhaps some things that you've noticed, some takeaways around your observations in those forums.
Well, you know, I was really impressed with the candidates that we had and that we have running. There were 10 candidates. There's 5 positions that are opening that are being voted on tonight at the city council level, and all of the people that were running for those, none of them were unopposed, which is very different than I mean, there's a lot of races, and even if you fill out your ballot at home, there were several races that were unopposed, and so I mean, it was a big deal. People turned out. Candidates put themselves out there.
Yes, they did.
We kind of asked quite a bit of them. They had to study up, and they were prepared. I was just impressed with the candidates themselves.
Well, and let's talk about that for a second, because going back to the Sheriff's Forum, and many of you who are viewers this evening, you may or may not have seen the forum. It was a challenging forum, to be candid. We struggled with some technical issues, but we worked through it. We got through it. Brent, you survived the day and are here today to testify on that. But also with the City Candidates Forum, we asked some pretty hard-hitting questions. You can see what's going on out in the mainstream when it comes to news and the questions they're asking candidates. I felt that what happened with our forums and with our candidate forums is that we had a very holistic approach, and we did our best to hear from the local citizenry and ask questions that you, our viewers, were interested in. And so, Brent, I'd like you to talk about that, because we asked some questions about backing the police. We asked some questions about legalizing marijuana and the city limits. So talk about some of your takeaways and what you saw from those forums with those hard questions, or those solid questions, I should say.
Well, Eastern Oregon tends to be more conservative, but still we are a fairly diverse group, and that is particularly the case inside of La Grande itself. When you look at Eastern Oregon and some of the more rural areas than La Grande, and there are more rural areas than La Grande, they tend to be a little bit more conservative. But, just like everything around metropolitan areas, it tends to be, some people would even argue that it's like, 45% Democrat, 55% Republican. So it's pretty close, in La Grande itself.
Yeah.
And so then because of that, the issues tended to kind of fall along those lines too.
Yeah.
And even though La Grande is, we've been really fortunate to not have some of the complications of urban areas.
Right.
There still are people that are reflective. They watch the news every night and they wonder, is there a chance that some of those problems, some of those issues, some of those things that might disturb our comfortable lifestyle, and people can judge whether that's good or bad, could that be a problem? Could those be issues that might arise in La Grande? And so the questions, particularly the questions that, because the last part of the forum, we took questions from Facebook, and they reflected that. I mean, there was a question about homelessness, and and so, it's on the rise. We're seeing it. We see it right here in downtown.
You're right. And thinking about those issues too, as we heard from our candidates, it's very, very interesting. And I'd be curious of your perspective, your feedback from people you ran into as you were out and about. Because as I was out throughout the county and wherever my job took me or my family took me throughout the time after that forum, I was constantly amazed with the number of people who actually viewed the forum and had comments and feedback, and they were very, very candid about their feedback too. But I will tell you, the general sense that I felt was that people did appreciate the opportunity to view these candidates, hear from the candidates directly, and not guess, or I think I like them, so I'm going to vote for them. But they voted out of a perspective of one who was educated and understand the issues, and they heard from those candidates directly. And so I would like you to talk a little bit about your feedback on what you heard as you're out in the community.
Well, I've been pretty busy. So unfortunately, I haven't been out that much. But, I did hear appreciation from people that it really did help them to get a feel for the candidates that have put themselves out there,
Absolutely.
And I think that was, when I kind of look back on it, this was my first forum that I put together. In the past, I've always had more intelligent people that put stuff together for me like that. This is kind of my first deep dive into that type of thing. And I was pleased with the vulnerability that the candidates showed, the things that they talked about, that they really did give us an idea of whom they were.
Well, and to that point, I don't know if you remember this, but during the city council forum, I forgot which city council candidate got emotional, and I think a couple of them did, as they talked about living in this beautiful place that we live in, and their neighbors and the neighborhoods, and the feel of community, and just how overwhelmed I think a few of our candidates felt as they were communicating their vision and their heart and their dream for the local community. Okay, let's go into something that I think is very interesting, and I think the viewers may resonate with this, but it has to do with polling data. And so just so you know, we do not really have any polling data where we know from an exit poll strategy, because we don't do that. We vote by mail, and there are drop boxes where I guess we could have gone and said, thank you for dropping off your vote, your pamphlet, who'd you vote for? So we're not that gutsy, and we're not going to do that. And so I think too, if we were polled, and I've asked a few folks to give me some feedback around that, the general consensus is they probably would not want to have that conversation. Brent, would you agree with that, or would you disagree with that?
You mean like, how did I vote?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I guess that's part of me is that I guess that's the whole point of the secret ballot. But
there you go.
So why would I walk outside of the doors and tell you, give up whatever secrecy there was? I think that is the power of the voice of the people.
Absolutely.
So anyhow, that's my particular thing. Now there might be others that have a chip on their shoulder, an axe to grind, or whatever they want. Then I'm sure that they would be more vocal than me. But that's the way I operate personally.
Well, and to that point, so what I'd like to do is segue now into some data that we have gathered. And Brent, are you ready and prepared to talk about this? Okay, so since we don't have the polling data, and one of the things is I looked into this earlier this week on national polls, local polls, many folks, and I will be one to actually say this live, is that I'm not sure I trust the polls. And so you may disagree with me, you may totally agree, but I'm not sure I trust them. And so I am out for other data, other information, and points of interest where that I can see what's going on. Now, I can watch mainstream media, I can watch other media, social media, and I can get an idea of where the momentum is happening, but then sometimes that just isn't an accurate sense either. But one of the things that we did is we did pull some data that I think our viewers, might be interested in. And again, we're going to look at from a social media platform. And by the way, social media, we listed them earlier. There are tons of social media platforms and outlets that people are accessing, from YouTube, Twitter, Parler, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Tumblr, WeChat, and I can go on. Did I miss any, Brent?
You lost me at about 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah. Well, when we saw the numbers on some of these social media platforms, millions of people are clearly accessing these platforms. One of the things we did is we wanted to pull up some data, and let's go and pull up the Union County Sheriff's data, if we could, Brent. This is very, very interesting, because what we did is we went in and looked at how many people got on, and we only did social media platforms with Facebook. That's the only one we used. But we wanted to see how many likes that these different candidates got in relation to their candidacy. And so here's our disclaimer on this as well. When you look at this chart, you might say, okay, Cody Bowen did very, very well compared to Bill Miller, so Cody Bowen may win this race. That is not necessarily the case. What we're showing you is from a social media platform, and this is how they marketed their campaign. These are the likes that transpired on Cody Bowen's and Bill Miller's Facebook page. Now, one may have not used Facebook. In other words, they may have used radio, newspaper, other ways to market themselves. So we have no way of pulling analytics on that. But we thought this was interesting for you as a viewer to see that, you know what, when these pollsters are out, it's not just about asking at the poll, who did you vote for, what were your issues, why did you vote this way, what was important to you, and by the way, what's your demographic? I don't think anymore that's the case. I think what we're going to start seeing with the pollsters is they're going to be using and accessing more of the social media component. But we did want to show you this, and we thought it was interesting. We also have funds that were raised. And again, not necessarily the final outcome of the election, but it is very interesting to see how these candidates did when it came to their social media platforms and their funds raised. And of course, this is the funds raised is as of 10/29, and you get an idea of the dollars that they raised, and they use those for their campaign. So, Brent, you are in the media world. What are your thoughts around using this as a gauge going forward, from a national perspective, for pollster information?
Well, I think what has changed in the game tremendously is social media advertising, and that's one of the things that we do. It's our game, and it's incredibly relevant. And frankly, it is one of the things that Trump used to win in 2016. Is he played the game of social media advertising better than anybody else had before that point. And so what's happening, and I mean, if you are a social media person, I'm sure that you've seen some of the advertisements of some of our candidates, and the reason is because it's simple for who people want to spend time to do it. So yeah, so I think that a lot of those funds that people raised directly went to social media advertising.
It is very interesting when we take a look and we see our local candidates really were more get out as best they could during this pandemic, get themselves out in the community, get themselves seen, but also accessing the different media outlets. And we will see how this goes. And we will see, in fact, tonight, we should have an idea, and we can use these graphs to see the actual results and compare those two. And this may be something that we see going forward in the future as an indicator of who the potential winner of the races could be. So Brent, let's go ahead and go to the next slide for the LeGrand City Council and their Facebook likes and funds raised. And you can see some accessed social media, I think, quite effectively. Some maybe, again, went with other modes and not so much on social media. But we're looking here at the mayoral race, and we see one, the Facebook was clearly used, social media was clearly used more than the other, as well as some who just decided not to use it at all, which, again, I'm not sure this is a clear indication of a winner versus the loser when it comes to that race, because they may have, their demographic may be different, and maybe that demographic is not so much tuned into social media. But we did think this was interesting, and keep this in mind as we reveal the results tonight, and it will be very interesting to see how much of this impacted the outcome of these elections. And we also, on the other scale there, we can show you the funds that they raised for their campaigns. And so you can get a clear idea. We've got a candidate for mayor who clearly raised some good money. So anyway, not to beat this to death, let's go ahead and go back to our live stream there, and let's go to the next Island City mayoral race as well. And so when we see their Facebook likes, we see one candidate access social media, the other not at all. And so again, don't know if that's an indicator, but we will find out once the results are in. Britt, what are your thoughts when we look at these concepts around how they're promoting their campaigns, especially, again, around some have utilized it, some have not? What do you think the outcomes are going to be?
It is just totally hard to know. I think that you have, particularly in the city council race, you have some very well-seasoned folks that have been in the valley for years and years and years, and they didn't need to do much advertising because they're known.
Right.
And then you have some newcomers who are, they've really taken advantage of that. So, well, hey, Bob, we have Kyle from up at Robin's office, and he's gonna talk to us here. Let me change my shot here. Anyhow, we're just gonna cut to him.
Perfect.
So he can't really hear us, so he'll take it away.
When it's time to start talking. Thanks, Brent and Bob. This is Dodsey. I'm here at the Public Resource Room in the Union County Assessor's / Clerk's office up here at the Chaplain Building, where just after 8 o'clock I will be joined by Union County Clerk Robin Church to read off the results for Union County Sheriff, LeGrand Mayor, LeGrand City Council seats 2, 3, 4, and 6, and Island City Mayor. I don't know anything about the races. I have no idea what's going on with the votes as of now, but just stay tuned, you guys. Be ready just after 8 o'clock. Robin and I will be right back here. Back to you, Bob and Brent.
That's cool.
Right on. Now we have to to Dodsey's credit, remember he's our sports guy. So he's a sports guy. We sure appreciate him going out on a limb there and doing this for us. And so,
Yeah.
And Brent, I do want to take a split second and thank you for hosting this event tonight and bringing this live coverage to our county. It's very much appreciated for all that you do. Now, with that said, I would like to take a second as we're
But
waiting.
hang on, just 1 second.
Sure.
So we need to mention the people that fed us tonight. And Marketplace Fresh Foods. I'm sorry that logo isn't showing up very well. But they're right next door to us here, and really appreciate Marco and the crew bringing over great food for us tonight. So, all right. So back to you, Bob.
Perfect. To that end, we are very grateful too. By the way, best hamburgers in town.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brent, thank you. I do want to talk about, before we get into some of the results with Dodsey up there with Robin, the Union County Sheriff's race. So many of our viewers and many who I've talked to here recently, in fact, I just had a brief conversation today as I was running an errand with someone who lives here in Union County. There's a lot of talk going on with this sheriff's race. With our former Sheriff Boyd Rasmussen, with the two candidates. One candidate was not on the ballot, and so there was some concern because he was not on the ballot. How then can he get his word out there so it is a fair, we might even say legitimate race for the two remaining candidates? Brent, what are your thoughts around this? Because I realize there could be a little controversy around this, not to stir or create controversy, but just to really bring this out into the light and say, we are aware that there were some challenges. We appreciate all that Boyd has done for us in his tenure and his service to our county. Love him, hate him, he did some great things for us and for our county. And so, unfortunately, he was not able to continue in his campaign, but we do see that we've got these two candidates. And so, again, we've got a write-in candidate and one who's on the ballot. And so how do you think, Brent, that influenced or impacted the outcomes of this election?
Well, thank you. And it has been a little bit of a convoluted journey. And so, for those people that don't know, Boyd he was first to put his name in for running. Bill Miller, who was a part of the Sheriff's Department and now works for the probation area of the county. He put his name in. And then Cody, I know Cody personally. Yeah, then he threw his hat in the ring, and that was a difficult choice for him to do that, to run against his boss. And then Shane Rollins from Cove, he also threw his hat in the ring. So, and in the primaries, it was close.
Very close.
Cody certainly had, the majority or a large percentage of the votes, but it was very close between Boyd and Bill Miller. But Boyd won, and so then it was the runoff that should have been was between Boyd and Cody, and then Boyd pulled his name out, and so then that left Cody unopposed, and Bill Miller then has put forward a write-in campaign, and he's worked hard at it. I've gotten to know Bill pretty well through this whole process, and he's worked hard at doing what he's been doing.
Yeah, and it did leave, I will tell you, again, some of the feedback that we received later after the forum and after all this unfolded, we did receive some input that there were some citizens who felt, okay, why can't Bill be put on the ballot? Why the write-in? Why, I'll make it so technical where you've got to fill in the oval and write him in. It made it a little more complex for the community to really grasp how do we move forward with this election. And there were some thoughts about even taking this and postponing it, but of course you can't do that. It's very interesting to us, to Brent and I, as we've talked a little earlier about this as well. We'll see the results clearly. We'll get the results tonight. Do we feel that it was a fair race, a fair runoff? I have to tell you, I think so. I think those who were supporting Bill will follow through and definitely write in, fill in the oval, and they will lock that in. Those who are going to vote for Cody, clearly they're going to vote that way as well. Brent, talk about the climate, though. Now, when we look at the voting in itself, it's not necessarily set up as an adversarial, say, event, but there are two candidates who may see the world through very different eyes, and they may have a different philosophy on how they're going to lead. And so there are tendencies where we can see it can get somewhat, I don't want to use the word hostile, but I will say it can get heated. And so talk about, did you see any of that with this election with our local folks?
Well, are you asking specifically associated with a race, or I don't know?
Good question. Good
Okay.
follow-up. Yeah, I think, listen, if we talk about the sheriff's race or the city council races or the mayoral race, just talk about anything that you've observed. Did you see anything get heated?
Well, I mean, I think, and I know Cody. I mean, well, first of all, let me comment on winning a write-in campaign is very complicated.
Right.
It's very difficult. And, I'm not an expert in that particular area, but, I think that you have the opportunity to write in because that's the pleasure of voting. You can vote for whomever you want, and so that's a cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
But it's a tough. That's a tough thing to do. And you kind of look at, but you look at Cody and Bill, and they are kind of different. It's old school versus new school now, and that does not mean it's good or bad. That means that all you have to do is just look. If you know Cody and you know Bill, you understand the dynamics of that particular race.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Bill is a seasoned, experienced officer. Cody is, he is who he is. He's just a walking personality and an amazing individual, and he's been very successful as a school resource officer. So, but both of those things have huge advantages for our community, one way or the other.
Yeah, and with that said, too, I will tell you that I think it's going to be interesting to see how the voters react to the two different leadership styles. Are the voters in the mood for a change? Are the voters in the mood? Well, clearly there's a change because we have two new candidates. But meaning in philosophy, we've got someone who is a little more established, a little more experienced versus someone who's fairly new. Are they in the mood for new, innovative? Are they in the mood for something that is established? And only we'll find out tonight, and only the voters can make that decision. I will tell you this, though. When it comes to the folks who ran for offices, whether it be city councils, the mayoral race, the sheriff's race, for the county, here's a great example. The town of Elgin is very passionate and supports Bill, and yet we felt that what we saw was amicable. It was a solid race. There was no hostility toward one another, and even in the different philosophies or leadership styles, again, they embrace each other, they're friends, and yet they all get along, but we're going to see the outcome here very, very soon. Okay, so we are approaching 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
How are we doing with this?
Well, I think they're going to call us, and we haven't got a call yet, but I can see them. So I don't know, let's see I don't know for sure, let's just keep going. I think your laptop is running out of juice, so we're going to kind of work on that too.
I'm having a sheriff forum moment. It's all coming back.
Yeah, but
Technical.
this is totally mild compared to the obstacles that we had during the sheriff's forum.
Yeah,
I tell you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing too, we have some of the candidates teed up and ready to go. So depending on who wins in the outcome of these elections, we're hoping to have the winners of some of these races come on with us tonight through a phone call. They're not going to be here live, but through a phone call, and just to get their thoughts and their feelings. And it's kind of a mini acceptance speech, if you will, and we'll see how that goes. Not sure yet. When we look at, say, the national race, we did decide that we may visit that shortly, briefly, and talk very, very briefly about the national presidential race. The challenge that we're having is we believe that we're not sure it's going to get even anywhere near close to being called this evening. And so it's going to be very, very difficult to talk about this or even to try to bring those numbers to you because, of course, the national media will be all over that. Brent, what are your thoughts around this? Now, we can bring some data tonight here in just a few minutes when it comes to the presidential race, but I'm not sure that's something that's going to be called this evening. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't, I mean, like a lot of this political season, I have an opinion, but my opinion is not, it's not any more qualified than anyone else's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what a crazy, who could have predicted that we'd have COVID, and on top of that, we'd have, an election, that things would be as wacko as they are, that the President of the United States would end up having COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is just so many things that are totally out of it. So I guess personally, and we haven't had an opportunity to even see, I think by now or right away here, polls on the East Coast have closed,
Mm-hmm.
and they might have already. So I don't, we haven't even seen any numbers.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess if we will have some here in a little bit, but I'm a little afraid to wade into that. How about you?
Well, I will tell you, like you, we all have a thought around who our candidate is. And the thing about this election cycle is we're all very passionate about our candidate. And that's okay. And that's why this democracy works so well. It's because we can be passionate, we can get in there, and we can make our vote count. And I think that really is the key to this, is making sure our vote is counted. And so it is going to be very, very interesting to see the outcomes of this. I think are they ready to give us some outcomes?
I don't, they're not looking ready yet. They're not in front of a
Okay.
camera yet. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, then let's do this. I want to talk to you about the Island City Mayor. We did want to take the city of Island City and talk about the mayoral race that's taking place this cycle as well. When we look at these two candidates, and I know we're probably addressing more of the LeGrand City constituents than we are Island City, but one of the things that I think is very, very interesting, especially as my time as a Chamber of Commerce Director, as I was out in the different cities and meeting with city councils and just trying to be that support and resource for them, I had a chance to get to know a lot of these cities, and I will tell you, Island City is a very progressive city full of phenomenal people, and their city council is cutting edge, and they want to see things get done. And so when we look at these two candidates, they're both outstanding people. I don't know how the voters are going to choose. We've got Comfort versus Spence, and again, both candidates are fantastic. Spence is new, I believe, to the political realm, but very involved in the communities. Comfort, of course, is an established, strong personality who is an anchor in that community as well. And so, Brent, talk about your thoughts around what do you see happening there in Island City?
Well, it's funny because I live in Island City,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't vote for mayor.
I'm sorry?
I didn't vote for mayor because I'm personal friends with both of those folks, and I just couldn't bring myself to make a choice, so I wanted someone else to make that choice for me, But both of those candidates in Island City are wonderful people. They're new, they would be new blood. Neither one of them have served on the council before, so it would be a new experience for them.
Yeah.
So, but both of them are just really good folks.
They're great people, and they're smart.
Yeah.
I think that either one will lead that city into its next place. And I think that, again, with what I have observed with the Island City group is that they want to be progressive, they want to be successful, they want to see growth. And so we salute you, Island City, if we have any Island City viewers tonight. I will tell you, I had a chance to get to know Delmer, who was a mayor at the time when I was with the Chamber, and he, again, outstanding individual. And I'm sure he is sorely missed. And Rob, I think, succeeded him, and again, sorely missed. And so I'm excited for Island City with these two candidates. It's going to be very interesting to see the outcome of this. And I'm not going to make, Brent, I'm not going to make a prediction, but I'm
Okay.
going to tell you, I think that's going to be a very, very tight race, and I could be completely completely wrong. Notice anybody who makes predictions, they always throw in that disclaimer. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
But
We're not going to call it before it's certain.
But I will tell you, these two, because it's such outstanding, I'm looking at my screen like I'm looking at pictures of them, but these are very outstanding people, like Brent and I have talked about. But I think it's going to be a very, very close race, and it may not, again, be able to be called this evening. I'm not sure yet, so we'll wait and see. Okay, so we are not ready for results yet. Is that correct?
They're getting close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another thing I want to talk to you about, and this is going to be a strange and perhaps awkward thought, but Robin Church is our city recorder up there at the county, and I think as a viewer, if you are here in Union County, you may have noticed that she was on the ballot.
That's right. Yeah.
This election cycle. Now, she went unopposed. And so I'm going to have to tell you, I think that's a good thing. Robin is a wealth of knowledge. And but Brent, I tell you, Brent and I talked about this a little bit ago, but it is interesting to think that Robin Church is up there having to announce the winners and the outcomes, knowing that she is on the ballot, and potentially if someone ran against her, she could end up winning or losing. Talk about your thoughts with that. That could be uncomfortable to announce.
Yeah, and you're right. What an awkward place that would be in. On the same hand, you'd be a crazy person to run against Robin Church. Yeah. I don't,
Well said.
Yeah, because she's just such a fixture. And boy, you talk about someone who is passionate about their job. And you know, I've before I knew Robin, I talked to her about taxes in a not so comfortable conversation. But because that's part of her responsibility also. But, you know, now that I've gotten to know her, I mean, she is a gem, and she cares deeply about the integrity of tonight. I mean, her whole world is involved in, you know, being sure that every vote is counted, that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And so I think they're getting close.
Well, she loves the county, that's for sure. She loves the county. Okay, so for you who are at home watching this, you may have noticed that she was on the ballot, and I just wanted to get that out there because it could have been an awkward conversation, especially if she had a challenger, and thank God she does not have a challenger. One of the other things I wanted to point out too, and I have not verified this, but I got the impression from an episode of EO Alive TV where we brought a story about the new ballot machine, the counting machine. And if you had a chance to view that, wonderful. You got a chance to see the checks and balances on how your vote is counted, tallied, confirmed, and also made sure that it's safe and secure. And I believe Robin may have been a spearhead in making sure that our county received that. Brent, what do you know about how that machine was acquired? Do you know much about that?
No, I don't. You know, and the sad reality is that we have so many minutes every. I haven't watched that story. That's a horrible thing to admit. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey. So speaking of such, I think.
When you guys are ready.
Fantastic.
I'm going to hand you the microphone. I think it might be easier. So tell me when. Thanks, Bob and Brent. This is Dodsey. I'm here at the Union County Clerk's office, and I'm with Robin Church, the Union County Clerk, and she's going to go ahead and read you the results.
Hi, everybody. These are the hot races in Union County tonight. Union County Sheriff, Bowen, 5660. Write-in, 3110. LeGrand City Council, position number 6, Moyle, 2097. Bozarth, 2156. Council, position number 2, Wheeler, 2097. Howard, 2277. LeGrand City Council, position number 3, Glabe, 2101. Dutto, 2199. LeGrand City Council, position number 4, Meisner, 2425. Alf Rippey, 1804. LeGrand City Mayor, McHatted, 1595. Clements, 2959. Island City Mayor, Comfort 13, Spence 12. Ballots are coming in from the drop boxes as we speak.
Thank you, Robin. I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Bob and Brent, back to you. Good minute.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Now you're not muted. Go.
Okay, wonderful. There we go. Okay, so there we've got the results. Now, I was not able to write all the numbers down. So, Brent, help me on this. We've got...
So here's what I have. And I think these are right. So the sheriff's race, Bowen 5,660, write-in 3,110. City Council, Moyle versus Bozart. Moyle was 2,097. Bozart is 2,156. That's very close.
Yeah.
Many of these are really close.
Okay, so we're saying Bozart took that position.
Yeah, so far.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and again, I mean, she might have said there at the end how many. There's a lot of, all of the votes are not counted, so it will take a while for them to all get in. And we just got that email. If you'll retrieve the email, we'll get the exact numbers. Okay, Wheeler versus Howard. Howard right now is ahead, 2277, 2,277 to 2,097. Wheeler is behind again, just by a few.
These are close.
Yeah, between Glabe and Dudo, Dudo is ahead by 98. Yeah,
98
Dudo is 2199 and Glabe is 2101. Marianne Meisner against Rippey is 2425. Rippey is 1804. And then again,
The mayor.
McCare Clements at this point is ahead 2959 to McCadded, which is 1595. And the Island City Mayor, we talked about this. The Island City Mayor, Comfort 13, Spencer is
12?
12.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
within 100.
No, within one.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Oh,
Yeah. But again, see that, so what happened, the people in Island City would naturally drop their ballots at the voting box. There's a collection box in Island City, and they can drop them in that box up until 8 o'clock. And so I'm sure there's more ballots that are being retrieved from Island City.
it's going to be. Sorry, Brent. It's going to be very interesting to see if much changes after the drop-offs are counted. So we talked about the Island City mayoral race, and it's how do you call that?
Yeah. Well, Robin is very good about getting us updates, and it seems like in the spring, within an hour, we had a second round of counting. But at this point, it looks like Bowen has a pretty good lead. Would be very difficult to overcome. All of the other races are pretty close. Marianne Meisner is pretty decidedly ahead, and Steve Clements looks like he will win another term.
Yep, the mayoral race is pretty solid.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but these are still pretty close, and there's clearly some good campaigning that went on that brought voters out, and they definitely wanted to be heard and get their opinion out. So this is good. So if you are just tuning in, we've just received the results, and so Robin Church has delivered those to us. And so just very quickly, it looks like Cody Bowen is going to be our next elected sheriff. It does look like City Council position 6, John Bozart, looks like is ahead at this time. And it's still close. It's still very close. City Council position 2, it does look like Nicole Howard is coming in with 2277 over the 2097. Again, these are close. City Council position 3, it looks like Corinne Dudo is taking the lead on that one.
So you might, Bob, look and see if our graphs are updated yet. You might see. Sorry to interrupt you there.
That's all right. No, they are not. That's okay. We'll get them updated for sure in a second. So then also City Council position 3, it looks like, again, Corinne has definitely taken that one. And well, I shouldn't say definitely, forgive me. These are all very close. And Brent, I think you'd agree with me on this.
Yeah.
All right. City Council position 4, it looks like Marianne Meisner is ahead 500-600 votes. Then we go back to the mayoral race. It does look like Steve Clements is solid as our new mayor. Congratulations, Steve. And I believe we're going to try to have some of these folks on the call.
Yeah, here in a minute we'll connect with some of those. But scroll down through your slides a little bit, Bob, and see if any of those are.
We have not got these.
Keep going. Keep going there. Wait, go back.
Nope.
No. Okay. All right.
All right. So again, as we review this very quickly, for those of you who got out and voted, thank you for voting. You have been heard. You have cast your ballot, and now we're getting these results. And as we talked a few minutes ago, Brent, we had mentioned that we felt they would be very close, and some of these are very close.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, all of the 3 positions, and I'm sorry I don't know the position numbers, but, the race between Moyle and I'm sorry, the name was Bozart, thank you, and Wheeler and Howard and Glabe and Dudo, I think all of those are just very close right now. And I think the only decidedly races right now is the one with Marianne Meisner and the mayoral,
and sheriff
and the sheriff. Yeah, everything else I think is very much up in the air.
I think you're right. I'm going to say I'm impressed with the write-in for the sheriff. We had 3,110 people write in for. Bill as sheriff. So, but congratulations to Cody Bowen. So, Brent, how do you want to do this? I think we need to get our clear cut.
Okay. I tell you what. Why don't we just take a couple of minutes break here, Bob, and we'll come back here in just a minute.
Perfect. All right. We'll be right back.
Okay. Thank you. hang on. Okay, now do that again. You were muted. Sorry.
Oh, I was muted. Welcome to live TV. Okay, so we're back, and we've got a lot of data we've been sifting through. Brent, I thought I would just go over a couple other quick races that have affected our valley.
But hang on just a sec. So we have Cody on the line.
We have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cody Bowen. Yeah. So go ahead and flip that switch and yeah.
All right, I've got power on. So this is old school. Anyway,
Say hi.
Cody, are you there?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Fantastic. Cody, this is so low tech right now. Hey, congratulations on your win. You've got about a minute to give us your acceptance speech.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you guys first for doing this. This brings it into a lot of people's homes, and I know sitting on my front couch, I appreciate it. So thank you guys. To start off with, thank you to the people that believed in me and thought that I could do this. Starting off with my wife. Somebody told me, behind every good man is a great woman. I've got a great one. I couldn't do it without her. Secondly, the folks that jumped on the board, right from the get-go with the support and, hey, Cody, I've been waiting for you to do this a long time. How can I help? Thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to all the donors. Thank you to all the folks that just had a kind word to say. I will tell you, with the 30 seconds I have left, I'm going to pour my heart and soul into this office, and I will not let you down. We're going to do some amazing things. We're going to do some preventative maintenance with our kids. We're going to do some stuff from post-prison stuff that's going to fix our communities, and I'm going to work night and day on that, and it's going to be amazing, and just I can't wait to start this ride. Come on, January, let's go.
Right on. Well, Brent, anything you want to mention to Cody?
He can't hear me, but ask him his biggest takeaway, the thing he's learned the most.
Yeah. I know you can't hear Brent, but he did ask, what would you say your biggest takeaway is through this entire experience?
My biggest takeaway, it's a learning experience, and when people talk about experience, I think the more experience you have, it takes away from your ability to learn new things. And my lack of experience in this, I've learned a lot, and politics is not something I'm a fan of, but I'm willing to hang everything I have out there to do what's right for this office, do what's right for this community, and I believe the voters made the right choice, and I'm just excited, man.
Nice. Well, on behalf of Brent and I and the rest of us here, we want to congratulate you and looking forward to seeing great things happen as you are our new sheriff. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Brent.
Right on. All right. Well, that was Cody Bowen joining us live tonight, and it's exciting to see those results. I think Brent, we can pretty much call that one as definitely done. Some other races, Brent, that are very interesting that I thought I'd bring up. I was sifting through the email from Robin, and for the clerk at Union County, Robin Church, and against write-ins, Robin is clearly the winner. And so, Robin, congratulations on your re-election. Also wanted to talk about the city of Embler. It's a tough one to call right now, and I'm afraid I'm not gutsy enough to do that. Brent, how do you feel about this race between the city of Embler mayor race? It looks like Jason Berglund and Rick Visick. It's too close to call. We're too close.
Yes, I trust you. You have more information in front of you than I do right now.
Okay, well, let's go to the city of Cove. So we had a pretty good race there with two incredible people. I'm going to go ahead and call this one. It looks like Sherry Hagar is in the lead with 202 votes, and Conrad has 121. And so I think I'm going to go and call it. We'll see what happens. Now, my calling this is not official, so do not go out and celebrate until the numbers are done. Also, let's go back to the races, the big races here with the city of La Grande. Clearly, we do have some we can call. Steve Clements, congratulations, is our mayor, and he has been reelected, clearly reelected. Do we have Steve on the line? Okay. Well, let's. Okay, so try to get Steve on the phone, but let's go ahead. I want to review this very, very quickly. We've got some that are very close to call, some that I think are very close to being done. When we look at the City Council position 6, John Bozarth is ahead by 59 votes, and I do not see how we can call that. Nicole Howard is ahead by 200 votes, so that one is looking like a pretty good race and may be done. Corrine Dudo, again, ahead by 98. So I'm not really there to call that one. I will say Marianne Meisner against Christine Alfripi. I think that one is a pretty solid race where Marianne Meisner is going to get reelected. Okay, so that's where we are right now. We are looking to refresh, and yep, nope, I do not have updated numbers to show the folks. All right. We do have Steve. Okay, let's.
Power on.
Oh, I've got the.
Connected.
Okay, hello, Steve. Are you there?
I am. Is this Bob?
It is. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate it. I also want to thank the voters in LeGrand. Thank Alex for running a campaign, for being involved, stepping up. It feels good.
Steve, so I know you have been our mayor for the last 4 years, and I know you, I respect you, I appreciate your leadership. And so congratulations on your race and on your win. And so this is your 1-minute acceptance speech, so you can say whatever you like.
A 1-minute acceptance speech. Is that all I get? No. This is an example of democracy, an opportunity for people to step up and to serve their communities. I have always felt like my involvement with local government has been a passion of service, and I appreciate that the voters of LeGrand recognize that and have honored me tonight with another term as mayor.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you, Steve, for your willingness. And also, I think the voters need to know that these are pretty much volunteer positions.
Yes.
So, and also, I want to tell you congratulations on the quiet zone. I've got a lot of feedback. A lot of feedback on that. Take a quick second, talk about what you had to go through to get that done.
The quiet zone, the quiet zone was a matter of finding the right people to do a lot of the legwork. A couple of citizens came forward. They knew the law, the regulation. We had Norm Paulus and Robert Strope, who kept manhandling this effort through. Norm Paulus, in particular, as Public Works Director, had worked with Father Hank a number of times in trying to get this to happen. And he saw this time as we looked at the regulations and what we could do, Norm recognized that it was possible. And so the right people in the right place in the council who was willing to keep it moving in the right direction. So,
right on.
Interestingly enough, a lot of communities have contacted us, a number of communities. Baker City is one of them. I've got some friends up in northern Idaho that are interested in the same type of thing for their community. So this is an opportunity for LeGrand to share its experience far and wide.
Yeah, and I actually heard about Baker City inquiring. So, Steve, thank you for your leadership. Congratulations on your win this evening. And we are looking forward to seeing more great things happen from you. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
All right. So we had Steve Clements on the line, and so what an honor to get these guys. I sure appreciate them taking time to jump on. Brent, so we're working on getting you the statistics on the screen, and so Brent, I'm going to challenge you to come in and get on your laptop and get us dialed in. Again, we have met with Robin Church this evening, and we've heard a lot when it comes to the results thus far. We did receive a printout of those results, and we will get those up here in just a few minutes for you. It is approaching 8:30, and we did mention that we were going to try to limit this to be within about an hour. But we're going to work to get these graphics up for you in 2 seconds. But I will say thank you, Robin, for all the work you've done. Now, with that said, we're going to get the results up. You'll see them. We can call some of these races. Some of them we are not gutsy enough to do. But I will tell you, there are still more votes that are being counted, and so we'll hopefully find out later this evening on those final results. Okay, Brent, we are going to go to a break, and then when we come back, we will have the data up so you can see those. So hold on once, we'll come right back. Okay, we're back. Live TV. Here we go. So Brent, can we go ahead and bring those graphs up? It looks like we got them. All right, so Union County Sheriff, as you can see the results as of now, and we feel very comfortable in calling that race. Cody Bowens received 5660 and our write-in bill at 3110. Which I have to tell you, the 3110 is impressive for a write-in.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we've got a clear. Brent, how do you feel about this one?
Both of them are great candidates. I'm not surprised. And again, just because it's tough to do a write-in campaign, that's really difficult to do.
Okay, I agree. City of LeGrand. So here again, tight races, and do not feel comfortable calling honestly any of these except the mayoral race. So Steve Clements clearly is our re-elected mayor, and as we heard him a few minutes ago, he's got some great plans for the city and moving the city forward. So, but we look at Howard Wheeler, Dudo Glabe, Meisner, Alfrippy, Bozarth, Moyle. Brent, how you feeling?
Those are, I'm not surprised. I guess I knew that they would be tight. All of those would be tight. And again, there were such really good quality people.
Good people.
Yeah, and I just hope that those folks that were not elected will stay involved. There's lots of places to be involved in the city at a lot of different levels. And I would say this. I'm a big defender of the city council. Part of it is because I have been videotaping the city council meetings for the last 10 years, nearly. And, I watch them. I've seen citizens come in very angry, rightfully so. I've been one of those citizens before that have spoken strongly. But these are our people. These are
right.
People that have stepped up from the community. They're not getting extra money. They have nothing to get by making a particular decision. I mean, they're just really good folks.
Yeah. And as we've mentioned before, especially at the forum, they're pretty much volunteers. citizenry volunteers. One of the things I will say that I'm very happy to see is we do see new faces stepping in and running for positions. It's just too close to call.
Yeah.
They're just too close to call.
Yep.
Meisner and Alfrippe, probably that one is the one I'd feel most comfortable in calling right now. But again, we probably still have a handful of ballots yet to count. Okay, so that is some impressive numbers there. Let's go to Island City Mayor.
This has not been updated.
Yeah, that's not updated.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. We've got some good coverage going on here. So we clear cut on the sheriff.
Yeah.
Got a new sheriff.
Yep.
Okay.
So, well, hey, Bob, this is good. Do we have anything else we need to talk about?
I don't think so. I think for the most part, stay in tune.
Yeah.
If you wake up tomorrow morning and some of these results have changed, fantastic. I love that we have this American experience where we, the people, our voices count. And when we speak loudly and with clear cut and expectations on direction and vision.
Mm-hmm.
I so appreciate, as Brent, you and I have journeyed this together through these forums, getting a chance to hear the heart and as well as the mind of these candidates and what they would like to see happen and how they're going to execute on their vision. And it's nice. It's refreshing to see, and I believe that Union County is definitely going to be moving forward, and we need that, and especially at a time where we face some of these challenges in our lives and in our county, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's housing issues, whether it's the homeless, or ethical questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to know that we've got people in place who will listen to the citizens and make good decisions based on that input and also on their moral compass. It's very important.
Yeah.
All right. Brent, I think we're good. I think we can call it a wrap. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, just a couple of things. There's not an organization, county, city, or whatever it might be, to where if you legitimately have a question, you really want to understand how money is spent, and you are respectful in the way that you seek after that information, there are folks that will walk you through and answer every question that you have.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything hidden. The folks that are involved, they really work so that there's not some surprise or aha moment or, I think there have been some good things that have come out of this.
I think so too.
Talking about transparency and seeing a little bit more, that has been a part of the conversation, and not because anything was hidden, but, counties, cities, they work at doing the city business. And there is somewhat of an assumption that if you want to know about the county business or city business, you're going to show up at the county commissioners meeting or you're going to show up at the city council. And part of that is true, but we live in a day and age where communication should be easier to be accessed.
Yes. Yeah.
And, there's not really much of an excuse for any organization anywhere that's in the public domain to where you can't easily navigate to their website and easily find out what's on the agenda upcoming or what was the minutes from previous or whatever the case might be.
Right.
So I think those are some things that are good. Those are good things to talk about and good things to encourage organizations to be, make that easier to have access to that data.
Absolutely agree. And I think we who live in Northeast Oregon have a unique opportunity at this time in history to be involved in a way that's meaningful and impactful. Mm-hmm. And so there we go. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up our coverage for tonight. I thank you for tuning in. We thank you on behalf of Brent Clapp.
Hang on,
thank you.
Yes. I just want to thank the crew.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So thank you, Bob, again for your help. And then again, also thank you, Marketplace Family Foods, Fresh Foods, for providing dinner for us tonight. Great burgers. So, and thank you to my wife, Tanya, who has been shuffling back and forth. Thanks to Kyle and Bennett, who helped do the remote. And thank the Lord, our technical issues, people have no idea how complicated all this stuff is. But thankfully, we're getting a little better at it.
Much better
as time goes on. So.
And thank you to Brent Clapp Media Services and EO Live.
All right.
So thank you, Brent, down in the cave, there in the bunker. So, and you, our viewers, you who live in Northeast
Yep.
Oregon, thank you for tuning in. It's been an honor to be with you this evening. Hopefully this was meaningful and valuable and to bring you some information. Also, feel free to check these results in the morning, and we should know who our new leaders will be. So again, thank you for tuning in. Have a great evening.